always ask, well, what's the difference between equity or equality, diversity, and inclusion? And the simplest way I can think of to explain it to them is that equity is actually a way to identify barriers to success and to minimize those barriers, to maximize the potential so that everybody can get access to a meaningful career, to value, to be valued, and to practice the best design work possible with the best design outcomes.
For the same reasons that we consider remediating the soils to which we place our foundations, you actually have to understand thoroughly the conditions of the site, of the area, of the space that you're dealing with in order to build something from that. And for the profession, we have ignored the larger conditions of our field, of our practice.
Many of the emerging professionals, as well as seasoned professionals, are really in this disruptive time. So the theme this year of Voices, Values, and Vision, for me, really means how do we bring together the various communities and our own workforce as we think about the future of practice.
Equity by Design has evolved from an organization that was very focused on women's experience, and we have greatly expanded that to really think about equity for all people and to take deep dives into ways to expand access in firm culture and how, as architects, we are involved in equity questions.
This year, there's this really strong emphasis on understanding what people's voices are. There's a lot of diversity in architecture that we may not have captured in the past. So I think that the first step in what we're doing is really understanding the barriers that people have been experiencing to date for themselves. So a big part of that is just self-evaluation and understanding what people's identities are, because it's so multifaceted for each person.
Based on the past 5 years, I think the work that we've done with Equity by Design has brought a different level of candor about the conversation about what it's really like to practice in architecture. And I think over the past 5 years, we've gained a level of confidence that tells us that we are curious about things that are important things. And in doing a data-driven process, we're able to unleash and uncover a lot of really important things.
I believe Equity by Design's work is important because if our profession wants to remain relevant, it needs to be more and more reflective of the demographics of this country and the world, really.
We are not represented in the profession. The profession is not a representation of what our communities look like. The obstacles that I've faced and challenges that I've overcome are tools for me to use to usher in the next generation so we can change what this data looks like.
This year, 2018, we have done the third survey, which paints a new picture about what the profession wants to look like, and the voices of the people in the profession saying, this is what I have to contribute, this is how I want to be valued, this is how I want to practice architecture.
The data from the surveys performed by Equity by Design have been extremely powerful in the conversation for positive change because it validates the anecdotes of the individual, it elevates the conversation for the collective, and it creates a platform for discussion.
The way that this affects my practice is I'm doing a lot of thinking about not just how I can create this sort of equitable practice for my employees, because that's very important to me, but what's also important is being able to go out as an owner, as a firm owner, and stand up for our values as architects.
I can say as an African American male that it's extraordinarily important for us to be able to diversify the field. The idea is not that every student that goes to an architecture school will become a licensed architect, but that they'll be able to take those skills and make an impact in the world.
By arming people, especially with data, but then also with frameworks for then talking about that information and contextualizing it. I think that we've started a conversation that's given people hope. It's encouraged people to try something. You know, taking one step encourages one more step. And so I think that there's a recognition that this is a problem that we can solve. There's a recognition that it's a problem we're solving together now in a way that there just wasn't 5 years ago.
Sometimes, especially being at an entry level, we may not think we have the ability to set the tone and vision of an office, but we're the future of the profession. So it's really up to us to make sure we're bringing our values into alignment with the places we want to work.
I think what's really exciting about the conversation we're having this year on the theme of values is how people can relate to it on many different levels and apply how they can use that moving forward. So that's something that's very helpful for people to hear other people's stories and to share their visions and their values.
I think this work is important for architects because we have a very direct involvement in the built environment and with the people who are going to use the built environment. And we have this particular perspective and the skills to be able to make something better in a very concrete way. As the society changes and as people change, the design needs to go with that too.
I think the future is bright. I think that there are some things that we still have to solve, but there's a lot of us really excited about making a difference.
Architecture is one of the passionate arts. It's the kind of profession that people embrace because they feel that they can make a difference in the environment. And it's really important to be grounded in what brought you here in the first place and to use one another and the information that we have now available as a result of Equity by Design to stay grounded in that, but move forward and have impact on a broad scale.